Welcome. In our last video, I emphasized the need to unlearn years of bad habits. And to start this process, I suggested you find a model speaker, such as from TV or the movies, and watch them, learn their mannerisms, their speech habits. I chose Matt Lauer, and he doesn't know this, but he's a big reason for my improvement over the years. Now let's get to something a little to the next level. And it may sound a little crazy, but believe me, this is an important step that really helped me. Let's go to the Seinfeld show, the fount of all knowledge, right? George Costanza, yes, that's George Costanza, gets the idea that if everything I do turns out wrong all the time, then maybe I should do the opposite. And sure enough, he begins doing the opposite in every situation, and things turn out right. He gets the girl, everything else turns out right. So that's what I began to do, to think the opposite and do the opposite. And how does this play out in real life? Let me give you a severe example. And I'll use one of the harder examples. Let's say you're in a room with people you don't know. What's your first thought? I'll tell you what my first thought was. How can I avoid having to introduce myself? Because I know, sure enough, someone's going to come up to me and they're going to introduce themselves. And then, what do I have to do? I have to introduce myself, and I'm on the spot. The tension is rising and rising. I'm anticipating someone is going to come up to me. I'm hiding behind my wife. I'm hiding behind my kids, whatever I can hide behind. It's a plant, a tree, whatever. Get me something to hide behind. And the tension is rising. So after years of this, decades of this, I finally figured out, follow George Costanza. Do the opposite. Introduce yourself before they can introduce you, before you feel like you're on the spot. Go right up to someone who has a friendly face, introduce yourself. But first, let's examine our thoughts. Let's examine the tension that I'm feeling. It used to take me seconds, a lot of seconds. It seemed like an eternity to introduce myself. And I would do anything to avoid it. But then it hit me, George Costanza. So I'll do the opposite. And those two words, Larry Stein, took on such meaning, such importance. So what you do? Think the opposite. They're just like any other words. They're just words. If I can speak these words, I could speak those words. Think the opposite. Introduce yourself. And so it went. So for the first few times, it didn't go great, but it went a lot better than I thought it was going to go. And eventually I became more and more comfortable. Began to calm down, feel better about it, and while I'm still not always comfortable introducing myself, it's no big deal anymore. In fact, I enjoy it because then I get involved with other people and get to learn about them and have fun with them and enjoy myself. So, and I can't tell you how big a thing this has been for me. It's like a huge weight off of my shoulders, getting that off my shoulders, and it's relaxed me so much because that fear is gone. And what we're going to do in the coming weeks is go after lower end fears, one after the other, and build up until toward the end we're going to work on introducing ourselves. And you'll see such an impact on your enjoyment of life. So for now, think like George Costanza. Do the opposite and relax. Laugh at situations, smile as you talk, recognize the fear, and then feel the calm. Recognize the situation for what it is, that it's probably not as difficult as you might think it is. If you do this enough, you'll feel better, you'll feel more comfortable, you'll feel more confident, and your tension level in all situations, in all speaking situations, will recede and eventually dissolve. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Next week we're going to talk about the physical act of speaking, the things you have to do to actually build consistent and effective speech. And I look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye.